When I was 14, my parents sat me down to talk about my quinceañera. They were always honest with me about money, which I appreciated, and they told me that the party would cost anywhere around $6,000. I was 14, introverted, and the idea of being the center of attention at a party sounded like my own personal nightmare. A camera felt like the more natural choice in every possible way. So I looked at them and I said, no, that's dumb. Let's skip the party, save half the money, use the other half, and buy me a camera instead. And they did. And at 14 years old, I count that as the beginning of my career. I've always been an artist, but my parents didn't think photography was a career. A lot of immigrant parents don't. And I understand it now more than I did back then. They wanted stability for me and something they could explain to their friends with pride, like being a doctor, an engineer, or a lawyer. But I was never built for the expected path. I never have been. So when it came to choose a college, I applied at the art institutes, and I told my parents that it was similar to a computer engineering program. And it sort of was. I would learn to code, to think in systems, to build things from nothing. And that's exactly what I did. I learned how to code, how to design. I fell in love with marketing, animation, illustration. I fell in love with the full universe of creative work and what art can do for a brand, a business, and a person. That university set me on a path I didn't fully understand yet. And somewhere in between, I found the career my parents didn't know they'd already helped me start the day they bought me that camera. After years of interning and freelancing and figuring it out as I went, I did what every entrepreneur eventually does. I bet on myself. I had an app idea and I went for it and I failed. But failure has a way of opening doors that success sometimes doesn't. That failed app walked me straight into the San Francisco tech scene. Through connections, I found myself sitting across from founders, investors, people who genuinely believed they were going to change the world through technology. I attended conferences, created more pitch decks than I can count, and I survived countless networking events that made me want to crawl out of my skin, but also lit me up completely. And for a while, I was all in on it because the original mission statement from every single founder I ever met was almost the same. We want to change the world. We want to make the world a better place. And I did too. That's why I stayed for as long as I did, despite the misogyny and the corporate bullshit mind games. But as time progressed, I watched it all change. The mission statement stopped being from let's change the world and started being how do we maximize the bottom line. Vision gave way to valuation. The founders who wanted to make things better started answering to investors who wanted returns. Capitalism had moved in, and it did what it does best. It ruined things. I just couldn't stay in something I no longer recognized. I had lost love for the very thing that once made me feel invincible. So I took everything I learned and I left. I started freelancing. I took every project I could find. I worked full-time jobs and part-time jobs and side gigs until I finally had to admit to the truth that I'd been circling for years. I am not built to be an employee. I never was. The freedom of entrepreneurship, even the terrifying parts, the uncertainty, that's the environment where I actually thrive in. I use the uncertainty as fuel. It's always pushed me forward. And that's when I decided to start my own studio. I already had the knowledge. I brought everything with me. The strategies I learned watching startups scale, the brand thinking I absorbed in the San Francisco rooms, the understanding of what a great content strategy can do for a company that believes in something. All of it. I took the best parts of tech and I decided that I wanted to give them to the people that actually deserved it. Working with well-funded startups and well-resourced companies, I was able to see what was possible when strategy and design and marketing are done right. You see what happens when a brand finally clicks. You see the numbers move and the doors open. The difference is that those companies were spending thousands of dollars a month on ads, funneling money into platforms, into CEOs and investors. And I just wasn't interested in that version of impact anymore. I wanted to give it to the people that deserved it. I wanted to give it to you, to the entrepreneurs. So, when you become a client at my studio, you get everything I built over the last 15 years of being a creative, a technologist, a strategist, and an entrepreneur who refused to quit. You get industry standard tools. You get a website that will never go down. You get thinking that comes from the highest levels of brand strategy applied to a business that's yours, that it's personal, a business that is an extension of who you are. Because that's what I know about you and I. We aren't cut out for W-2s. The road we choose is lonely sometimes, and painful, and full of moments where you question everything. But the path is ours to carve, and the doors are ours to walk through. I'm not going to tell you that I have all of the answers in relation to your business. But what I will promise you is this. I can help you find them. I can help you get to that next level. I can help you make sense of your business. I love marketing. I love design. I love strategy. I love entrepreneurship. I'm doing what I wanted to do in the startup world, but I'm doing it here in my studio, helping you. Because I don't want to give more money to capitalism. I want to give more money to you, to the people that deserve it, to the people that are actually trying to make the world a better place. I wanted to share this story because the world keeps changing, things keep shifting, and I want to be a light for those who feel lost. Being an entrepreneur is hard. Running your own business is harder. No matter how hard you try, there is no cheat code. You just have to get through it. That's what you get when you start a project with me. You get someone that gets it, that gets your world, that gets your ambition, that understands your fears, and who just knows the feeling of what it's like to do your own thing. I recognize that ambition in you. I recognize the resilience, and I'm here to remind you that you're not alone. Entrepreneurship is a good adventure. It's full of ups and downs. The highs get higher, the lows get lower. But it's a good adventure overall. And what better way to bring someone into your world than someone like me who's already living in it?